he bought a boat. And when he bought a boat, he called his rich friend. He's like, "Hey man, I got a brand new boat. You wanna go out this weekend and fish?" He's like, "Yeah man, I just got some Gloup." And the regular guy's like, "What's Gloup?" He's like, I can't explain it. I just have to show it to you." He's like, "All right, well, take me out on the boat this weekend and we'll catch a fish and I'll show you the Gloup." He's like, "All right." Well, Saturday comes up and he goes up to his friend's house with the boat, and his friend's out in the front yard. He's like, "Hey man, ready to go fishing?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Run there and get the Gloup." He's like, "All right." When I tell you this guy has a big house, I mean, he's got a huge house, like big. So the guy runs inside, runs to the living room, runs to the dining room, gets to the stairs, starts up the stairs. He goes upstairs, down the hall, 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 upstairs, down the hall. Gets to the winding staircase, goes up the winding staircase, runs further upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall. Upstairs, down the hall, 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 runs to his bedroom. Alright, he goes to the closet, pulls out this huge box, opens it up, pulls out another box, 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 and 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 another box. So you got this little box, okay? It's a box of Gloup. Listen, runs back out his closet, out his bedroom, runs back downstairs, down the hall, 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 downstairs, down the hall.
I get it. It goes down a bunch of halls, a bunch of stairs.
No, he's got to get down. Okay?
You got to understand how big this house is.
Downstairs, down the hall, 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 downstairs, down the hall. Goes down the winding staircase again. Downstairs, down the hall, 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 downstairs, down the hall. Runs to the dining room, runs to the living room, then runs out the front doors of the truck. All right, I got it. So they go to Big Wick Lake. Are you listening? They go to Big Wick Lake on the weekend, all right? They're down the boat. They're catching a few fish. They caught like 8 or 10 fish. They're doing pretty good. He's like, "Hey man, what about the boat? Or what about the Gloup?" He's like, "I can't show you today." He's like, "Why not?" He's like, "There's too many people around. It's too loud right here. I just can't." He's like, "Well dang, maybe next week." He's like, "Yeah, we'll go next weekend." So he takes them home, drops them off. The guy's wondering what the Gloup is all week. So the weekend comes up, and the mediocre guy, he goes over to the rich dude's house, and he's like, "Hey man, grab the Gloup, let's go." He's like, "All right." So he runs through his living room, through his dining room, gets to the staircase, runs upstairs, down the hall, 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 upstairs, down the hall. Gets to the winding staircase, goes up the winding staircase, continues to run upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs, and down the hall, upstairs, down the hall, upstairs.